All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the rings, backstage curtain calls, and rumors. We also talk about superstar injury updates, inactive statuses. We talked about contract negotiations, signings, and negotiations. We talk about promotions from WWE to AEW, the TNA to the GCW, to the Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, Stardom, if it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling. We talk about it here on this show and just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE SmackDown preview. Then we talked about some TNA, Ring of Honor. And then we talked about AEW Dynamite's Fright Night, which was pretty badass. And now we're going to talk about Chris Bey's neck injury. So, recently you saw on the spot on TNA, in a taping in Detroit, Michigan, you saw, Chris Bey taking, a nasty fall. Immediately, you kind of saw, TNA personnel like hover around him, put the neck brace on. And, at that point, fans were kind of like, this is serious. And every single time a neck injury happens in terms of the world of professional wrestling, you kind of just sit there in the crowd with like the hair standing on the back of your neck. Because, at the end of the day, this is ultimately a show. This is a show. These guys are entertainers. They're athletes. They're husbands. They're sons. They're fathers. They're brothers. And it's nerve wracking when you see an injury like this. It's not good. It's not good. And even you saw reactions from crowds and the fans, and it was just quiet, obviously. And if you've ever kind of watched a lot of Chris Bey's interviews with TNA, and also with wrestling news media and stuff like that. This guy was all about promoting yourself. This guy is all about going out there and making a difference. Hey, you wake up every day in the morning with air in your lungs. Thank God, give the glory to God, and then go out there and make a freaking difference. Make something of yourself, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who don't get that extra breath when they wake up. There's people who are born with intellectual disabilities or mental disabilities, and they don't get to. So basically, don't waste the life that God gave you. Don't waste a chance to make a name for yourself, and definitely don't sell yourself short based on fears of not making it. I'd rather go out there and try to do something, and then ultimately be said no to, or or sometimes you do fail. Sometimes you do. Oh, no, not sometimes. You will fail. You will fail in life. That's just how life goes. But then at the end of the day, the thing that truly defines the character and who you are is your grit, is the way you pick yourself back up, dust off your knees, dust off your pants, and you're ready to go again. And obviously, like, you have certain motivations like that. And that's something that, Chris Bey, every single time on social media, he would, give posts to. The ultimately, the thing that motivated him was the way he wanted to motivate other people, in terms of having people go out there and try to achieve your greatness, try to be the greatest version of yourself. And so then, taking that in consideration, I'm like, damn, like it's crazy how this guy got injured. Thank the Lord in heaven that this guy isn't going to wind up paralyzed. But although he did say that he did say, and it's been reported that it's going to be a long, long journey. In terms of a neck injury, it's never easy. It's never easy. Look what happened to Edge. He had to say goodbye to professional wrestling. Look at Daniel Bryan, who eventually, they got surgery and was able to, pick themselves back up. Look at Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode was like he was kicking ass on WWE. Then he kind of went down as like, not a jobber, but then again, he got hurt, and you kind of see him backstage sometimes wearing a fancy suit. And I'm like, dude, look, it's Bobby Roode. So, and then, of course, Braun Strowman had neck fusion surgery. Eric from the Viking Raiders, or the War Raiders now, he also had surgery. You've had horrific neck injuries, for example, like who's that guy? Damn it. Droz, where he went, he's a full paraplegic where he can't feel anything from the neck down, and that's, oh God, that's a hell of a life to live right there. That's a hell of a life. Just imagine, living the best world, being a professional wrestling, establishing and living your dream jumping off the top rope and just like, having fans admire you. And then to the point where like you just a misstep, just a simple misstep. And then you're laying down, you can't move a muscle. And then, then you're starting to contemplate like, hey, will I ever walk again? Will I ever be able to drive? Will I be able to, walk up to my significant other or my spouse and give them a hug and a kiss? Or will I be able to, walk my kids down the aisle when they get married? It's a lot of thoughts that run through people's brain once when the ultimate, sorry, excuse me, the ultimate crap thing happens, and you're just like, damn. You don't want to take things for granted here in life, ladies and gentlemen. So, I don't know. Chris Bey issued a statement. He said, and I quote, I extend my heartfelt thanks and the deepest appreciations, for so much from everyone of TNA Wrestling to the incredible medical staff here in Detroit, to family, friends, and fans worldwide. It will be a long, challenging journey ahead. Please keep the prayers coming, and the prayers are indeed coming my way. Definitely sending prayers to Chris Bay. He's already undergone surgery. He had a emergency medical surgery that night. His partner Ace Austin of ABC shared an update saying that Chris Bay has begun his rehabilitation on Sunday. He's doing daily rehab sessions under the direction of specialists. It's showing daily improvements, which is great. Thank God. Thank God he's showing daily improvements. He's one step closer to being, being happy because everybody knows like whenever you like break a leg or like when you have some kind of medical issue going on, first and foremost, you could reach out to God and um also you get not I don't want to say sad. I don't want to say sad because you start to appreciate once when your health declines or once when, you're kind of stuck in this, state where you're not being able to be where you're not being able to do the things you want to do, I guess. I don't know if that sounds, weird to say or whatever. Like just a little sidetrack note. I work as a chef at a senior living facility. And then sometimes I talk to the residents and sometimes, some of them do, they do have Parkinson's, they have dementia and memory loss. And, they're trying to remember what they like to eat, drink and stuff like that. Obviously, as in the kitchen, we all know exactly what they like, and we know if they're, low blood sugar, we know if they're, diabetic, we know if they're low sodium, if they're gluten free, lactose intolerant. Obviously, we know all that. But then sometimes, they like to, they feel satisfaction of knowing that they can think of that themselves, knowing that, they're able to, pick up a spoon and eat regularly, but then some people are, they're just so shaky, they can't even do that. They can't even, then they're forced to like, and you have, people who can't even, have basic motor functions and, they can't even swallow where they have, like you have puree and you have, caregivers like feeding them and stuff like that. And then, sometimes it's tough. It's tough to see how these people, these amazing people once were just doing things on their own. Most of the time when people do go to a, assisted living facility, people have the common misconception that it's like, oh, it's just a jail for old people. And that's not true. That's not true. We watch after their diet plans. We make sure we, correctly regulate their medicine and stuff like that. We make sure that they're cared about around the clock, 24/7 with care staff and med techs and, an on-staff nurse and a daily, podiatrist, routine appointments and stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know. It's just, like I said, a side note, but like, obviously you kind of don't realize what you have until it's gone. So, Chris Bay was definitely one of those people, even before this happened, that he always, he took life by the horns and he was, like I said, he wants, every single day you wake up with air in your lungs, be happy, be happy, and although some stuff might not be happening in your way. Maybe you have maybe you have a crappy job or you're not making, ends meet or you're living paycheck to paycheck. At the end of the day, if you can go out there and, do something about it, then by all means, like, just put a smile on your face and just know that, the work you put in here in life, life is not a rehearsal. Life, you don't get to wake up one day and, be 14 years old again and be like, oh, I learned so damn much, so I can do it right. Life is a learning process, obviously, 1,010%. So I don't know. It's just his philosophy and stuff like that. Like, it's so crazy. I started researching this earlier today, and I got to be honest. What he said to me, or what he said see, I'm already saying what he said to me. Like what he said in terms of his interviews, like already, it speaks to me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, like, it's maybe definitely wants to motivate you more. Definitely wants to, step up your game a little bit more. And good things come to those who put in the work, guys. At the end of the day, you in terms of life, you get you receive what you ultimately put in. And by all means, and sometimes it's not easy, and sometimes people don't get that. And it's but then I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just it's tough. It's tough. It's life. It's life, ladies and gentlemen. It's life. When you think you have a plan, at the end of the day, then something crazy happens, and you're like, well, shoot. I mean, I just got to keep kicking. Got to keep kicking. Got to keep rolling. Family members, close friends, and TNA personnel, as well as wrestlers on the roster, are constantly by his side. Bay's first match was on TNA Explosion against Ace Austin. Ace Austin said, and I quote, "He was gracious, he was selfless, he was willing, and he was an incredible talent." He immediately became a challenger for the X Division Championship. They were rivals before they were partners. That was, that's pretty badass. ABC's accomplishments: they won an Ultimate X match against Motor City Machine Guns at the 2023 TNA Rebellion. They also won a three-team Full Metal Mayhem match at Bound for Glory recently. They had 3 reigns as TNA World Tag Team Champs. Tag Team of the Year in 2023, ranked number 6 in PW Insider top 10 tag teams, and the second place in the New Japan Professional Wrestling Junior Tag Team League. So that was that's pretty badass. TNA has been a very like diamond in the rough, so to speak. Like they have a bunch of young talents who could literally they can be headliners. They could be main eventers or high mid carders in the world of WWE. They could definitely be in the main event of an AEW and stuff like that. TNA has been absolutely one of the most respectable companies in terms of wrestling within recent years. TNA is covering all the medical costs of for Chris Bey. There's a GoFundMe page. It's as of this morning, it reached up to $85,000. And obviously it's going to be a long journey. Obviously, if you're not wrestling inside the ring, I doubt TNA will, let this guy, go poor, I guess, so to speak. They're going to take care of him. They're going to take care of him. He was one of the top guys. He is still the top guy. Although he might not be wrestling, he's thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to him. His family definitely, wish him a speedy recovery. Go hit up that GoFundMe page and make sure you guys, donate to an amazing man. Matt Hardy on his podcast, he talked to Chris Bey. Chris Bey was like, you know what? It was a freak accident. It was a freak accident. Stuff happens inside the ring. Nothing outrageous, nothing outlandish. It was just something's happened. Something's happened. Sometimes you wake up and be like, no, that'll never happen to me. But then, bam, sometimes it does. And another injury happened actually at that same taping. We had El Hijo del Vikingo land on his leg, and I think he had a horrific leg injury, and he actually had to be stretchered off as well. In his match. So two injuries that kind of happened on the same night, but obviously hope both of them have a speedy recovery. Hope obviously I don't want to be like I don't. What's the word? I'm great. No, that's not greedy. No, is that greedy? So I'm like, oh, I want to see these guys back in the ring again. Obviously, it's going to take more than them having the courage to get back into the ring. There's obviously got to be a lot of considerations of, hey, should I get back in the ring? Like, you know what I mean? But I definitely hope that these guys, at the end of the day, get back to full health. They're happy. If they decide to come back to wrestling, that's cool. Would love that. And if they don't, just know that they paid dividends and that they made a mark in TNA wrestling and in the world of professional wrestling. So definitely gotta throw some flowers there. Like I said, thoughts and prayers and to these two men, speedy recovery. So yeah, hope you guys stay blessed. All right, we are our fifth and final segment. I got 10 minutes until the GSMC Soccer Podcast with my man Emran. So make sure you guys stick around for that. And we're going to talk about WWE Crown Jewel predictions. Probably should have had this in my fourth or third segment because I kind of want to go over 10. This is like it's like a 20, 25 minute segment. But let's see if we can crash it down, ladies and gentlemen, to 10 minutes. Damn it, now 9 minutes. Let's get going. I'll be right back.